Okay. Stimulation. Stimulation is a very interesting topic. Um, okay, I've did videos on stimulation. Okay. Now, we all know the movie The Matrix, right? In the movie The Matrix, um, he doesn't know that he's in a stimulation, okay, until he's shown the stimulation, right? And this video is for entertainment purposes, but this is all bullshit, right? So when you realize you're in a stimulation, when you realize you're in a stimulation, right? What will happen to you? Your body will start reacting, okay? Reacting to the environment, reacting to the food you eat, reacting to your thoughts, okay? So, okay, so in this stimulation, right? When I understood that I was in a stimulation, everything was too familiar, okay? Um, too familiar, okay? And I said to myself, where am I at? Some of you guys might want to click off my channel at this time, and some of you guys might want to stay. Okay. Now, stimulation is something that is controlled, observe, controlled in controlled environment and controlled environment. In a modern being monitored or being monitored. Okay. So in the Matrix, you know how he kept seeing the people, the men in the black, right? Um. So I kept having these deja vu moments. Okay, I did this, I lived this, I experienced this. How is this even possible? Okay. Um. In that time, um, I even questioned the numbers that I was seeing. Okay, I was like, is the universe really sending numbers? Because people will say this new age bullshit. People that don't know truly the spiritual realm or understand the spiritual realm will say all kinds of fucking bullshit. Like you'll be financial abundant, you'll be this and that, whatever. But is that true? No, it's not true. Okay, it's not true. Okay. So I asked myself, who's the director of the simulation? Okay. Because obviously there's manipulation of the stimulation. Okay. Manipulation, um, theater magic going on, making things appear one way and they're not. Um, so people won't know who they truly are. Okay. Awakening the ancient knowledge in us. Okay. And why do some people reincarnate back in as somebody else? Okay. Why people's memories are being erased? Okay. It's because they don't want you to know who you are. Okay. Um, so when I look at the reincarnation, I did videos on this. I see this wheel, right? This wheel that's turning, and there's souls that are being recycled back in. Okay. And these souls that are being recycled back in don't even know they're being recycled back in because their memory is being erased. And then some people can come back in and remember their past lives. Um, and some people can come back in, not just remember their past lives, um, can know things that they shouldn't know. Okay. Um, and who is running this stimulation? I'm being watched right now. Okay. And being watched by you guys, but I'm also being watched. My phone, I'm being watched through my phone all the time. Your phone can be off and you're being surveillance. Okay. So why would they need to surveillance me in this matrix? Okay. Or this simulation? Why? Um, because when you know the truth, you walk in your truth, right? You speak in your truth. You react to things, people, places, and things in an inner knowing. Okay, an inner knowing, an awareness, consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously. Okay, um, and people will be put in your life to distract you. Okay, everybody that you. This is why you should not have no attachments. Okay. Yes, I love my children. Yes, I love my grandchildren. But do I have attachments in this physical? I do. The spiritual, yes, but I can deattach, unattach. Okay, unattach. Okay, so you know how they tell us when we leave our physical body, right? We perceive, we can see, we can feel, right? This physical form, right? We can feel it, we can see it, we can measure it with time, okay? But the spiritual body, you can't. There is no time, okay? Um, this is just a vessel, okay? So look at it like this is just a vessel, okay? Um, and this physical body means nothing, okay? It's the spiritual body that remembers, okay? The soul body, okay? Spirit means breath, okay? So when you step away from this physical body, right? So think of it like a video game, right? And in the video game, you can choose your appearance, okay? You can choose your hair color, you can choose your skin color, you can choose the character that you're about to play, okay? That is what the stimulation is, okay? But I asked myself, who is controlling this stimulation, okay? Um, Not just who's controlling it. Are we in control of the stimulation or somebody else in control of the stimulation? Um, it's very interesting. Okay. Very interesting. I did videos this on the past. And then one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I said, am I really sleeping? Because I perceive that I'm sleeping, but am I really sleeping? Okay. Because it's a perception. Everything's a perception and everything's a reflection. Okay. Everything we do in our walking life is a perception, our own perception, and our own reflection. Okay. So I asked myself, am I really sleeping? Am I really at night sleeping? And I came to the conclusion that I'm not really sleeping. Okay. Like a lot of you guys. Okay. You may feel this too. Okay. And you get to the point where you might sound crazy to some people, and then you become very lonely because you can only talk to certain people about this. awakening, if you want to call it awakening, or this realization. Um, and then I see numbers, right? See the number 5. So then I ask myself, is the universe really sending out numbers? Okay, or somebody else sending out numbers? Okay, I don't have all the answers. I'm seeing number 7. I don't have all the answers. Okay, if I did, this is just from my perspective. Okay, to get to the light, you must go through the dark. Okay, the unknown. Okay, we are so taught that the light is our salvation. Okay, um, the salvation is yours. You are the salvation. Okay, you are the light. Okay, if you look at energy on the spiritual realm or the metaphysical, it just looks like light. So does energy. Energy just looks like light. That's all it looks like. Okay, it looks like a floating light. Okay, so we all um are searching for answers. We're all trying to understand the concept of spirituality. Okay, um and everybody has their own perspective on spirituality. Okay, um now what I perceive, okay, what I perceive, Jennifer, okay, I, okay, um, how people are getting trapped on this wheel, because I keep seeing this fucking wheel, okay, I've always seen it, okay. It kind of reminds me of the zodiac wheel, the zodiac sign wheel, where the zodiac, you know how you see the zodiac signs and it looks like it's on a wheel, okay, that's what it reminds me of, okay. But the souls are being recycled back in. Okay. Now, what's happening is, so the concept of death, the perception of death, the concept of death that we got is wrong. Okay. Some people are still asleep. Okay. It's like a coma state, right? Where you're in this coma, right? And a coma state, when you see somebody in a coma, they look like what? They're sleeping, right? They're not awake. They're not aware. Okay. But they can hear you. Okay. That's like a psychic. Okay. A psychic can tap in, a medium can tap in. They can not just hear, they can actually see. Okay. So not all people that's in a coma state can see and hear. Okay. So in school also they teach you to only use certain senses, right? Hearing, touching, smelling, feeling, whatever, right? But we have so many more senses than just that, okay? Senses that we can tap into so we can really see what we're perceiving and what we're actually observing, okay? If this makes sense, okay? Because your observation of your reality is a observation, right? But it's your observation, okay? So the numbers, okay? So I asked myself, the numbers that we see, we're always taught these numbers are showing us our spiritual path, right? Or it's showing us we're on the right spiritual path, or we're on the wrong spiritual path, or which spiritual path should we go, okay? But are the numbers really that? Okay. Are the numbers really that? Are the numbers something more far greater than that, or far worse than that? Okay. So let's look at it at two perceptions here of reality. Okay. Our reality is what we perceive a reality to be in some capacity, but also there's manipulation going on in our own reality. Okay. So it's not just our perception, it's also what we can observe. Okay. Our observing is our perception. Okay. Because we're witnessing this with our eyes, right? So what if the numbers that we're actually seeing are not the numbers from the universe? What if the numbers we're seeing are somebody putting out the numbers? Okay. It's very interesting topic of stimulation. When I first realized that I was in a stimulation, you guys, I thought I was going crazy. Okay. Um, I thought that what I was experiencing was so crazy that I couldn't even measure it, okay? Or I couldn't explain it, okay? Hey, Olivia. So, when we look at stimulation, I believe that we are in a stimulation, okay? Now, if do I believe there's manipulation going on in this stimulation? Yes. Do I believe there's abuse going on in this stimulation? Yes. Do I believe there's neglect going on in stimulation? Yes. Do I believe there's lies going on in stimulation? Yes. Do I believe there's surveillance going on in stimulation? Yes. Do I believe there's meetings going on in stimulation? Yes. Okay. So how do we get out of the stimulation? So some of us know we're in the stimulation, some of us don't. Some of us are trying to consciously, subconsciously, and unconsciously aware people to bring awareness to this, to have people think about this. Okay. Um, so people can think about this. Okay. Um, this stimulation. So they tell us that time is measurable, right? But is time truly measurable? No, it's not. Okay. When you're in the metaphysical realm, I have to say metaphysical. Some of you guys will understand this way, or you're in the spiritual realm. There is no time. There's time doesn't exist. Okay. Time was made up to keep us reincarnating back in on this will. And I really believe the ancient ones knew this, okay? And they understood how to get out of the stimulation, okay? Um, Now, what I perceive to get out of the stimulation is to raise our consciousness of awareness unconsciously, subconsciously, and consciously, okay? Um, and things will be like deja vu or too familiar. Um, and it doesn't make sense. It kind of reminds me of, okay, so when I understood I was in a simulation, okay, I was an adult, I wasn't a child, okay. Did I now when I understood the spiritual realm, I was a child, okay. But when I really tapped into the ancient knowledge, okay, um, and seeing my past lives, okay, um, and was aware of my past lives and what happened, what occurred, and how souls are being recycled back in, okay, um, and how what we perceive to be the plane of existence is not the true plane of existence, okay. Now, are we real? Yes, we are real in soul and spirit, okay. This is just a physical vessel that we can measure and observe, okay. We can measure our physical body, or we can observe it. We can look in the mirror and see it. Um, but is it important, our physical? Yeah, it is. but it's not important as our soul body or celestial body or spirit body. Okay. When I channel my ancestors or channel people from the other side. Okay. If you want to call it the other side. Okay. They are more alive than we are. And I'm like, how is that even fucking possible? Okay. Because they're pronounced dead. Okay. But they're not dead. Okay. So for a long time, I feel like we got the concept of death wrong. Okay. To be dead and to be awakened. Okay. You are in a coma state of not consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously aware that you are in a coma state. Okay. And something happens where you wake up. And when you wake up, you are aware consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously that you are awake. Okay. And you understand everything that's going on around you is your perception of your reality that you can observe, right? So, time. So, I asked myself, are they sending out numbers so we can think that we're on our life path? Um, Very interesting. Okay. Do we choose our bodies? Okay. So many questions. Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. Who's controlling the stimulation? Question mark. How do we get out of the stimulation? I feel like how we get out of the stimulation is being aware that we're even in a stimulation. Okay. So being consciously aware, consciously awoke, truly awoke. Because you can say you're awoken or you're chosen. Everybody says they're chosen. Okay. This new age bullshit. I'm so sick of this new age bullshit. Okay. They're lies. They're all lies. Okay. These people that are talking about this and that and this and that, that you make your reality what you want to make it. Yeah, you do at some extent. But some extent you don't. Okay. There's theater magic going on. Okay. They're lies. Okay. So how do you raise yourself up from this coma state? You wake the fuck up. Okay. You really observe everything around you, not from the perception that you perceive. Okay. But the perception of what others see. Okay. You ever have a conversation with somebody and you're talking to them and they're not understanding what you're saying? Okay. Because they're still in a coma state or a dead state. Okay. A awakening state is where they're alive. Okay. They're aware. Okay. They understand what they're seeing. They understand what they are perceiving. Okay. They understand that they're in a simulation. So it's very interesting. So the numbers. So the seeing the numbers, synchronicities. Um, do I believe seeing synchronicities is from our ancestors or our angels? Yes and no. And the reason why I say that is because numbers is a distraction. Okay. Reality is a distraction. Okay. And it will consume you if you let it. Okay. Everything out here is not the love language. Everything out here is not real reality. Okay. Um, a lot of things that we see in the physical is not even happening on the spiritual, if that makes sense. So think of it as a coma state. You're in a coma, and there's some people that are in the coma state where they can hear, they can actually see outside the physical body. Okay, and then one day you wake up from that coma state and you start walking, you start talking. Okay. You start walking, you start talking, you start aware, you're starting to be more self aware, consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously. Um, some people that have this, they where they really know what's going on, they might go crazy. Okay. Because they can't fully understand the concept of stimulation, and they don't understand because the spiritual realm, nothing could ever be measured, not measured, even captured. Well, it can be captured, but it can't be measured. Okay, because it's eternal. It's eternal. It's forever. Okay, so to raise your awareness consciously, subconsciously, is just being more aware of who you are, who the people around you are, and living your life to the fullest, loving on people, um, and being honest. Okay. When I did that video on stimulation, I didn't get a lot of views, which I was surprised. Um, and I kept seeing like barcodes. Okay. I kept seeing computer software. Okay. Um, and I'm like, what the hell am I seeing here? And why do I feel like I'm repeating the same thing over and over? And I'm seeing so much that looks familiar. Okay. Like, it's too familiar. Okay. Too familiar. Okay. I did it. I seen it. I experienced it. Okay. I seen it. I did it. I experienced it. Okay. But it's happening over and over. Like, what the fuck? Okay. So I had to change when I had that aha moment, I call it aha moment, or that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in that stimulation. I'm in a stimulation. But how is this possible? Who put me here? And how the fuck do I get out of here? Okay. So when my dad crossed, okay, and this is what I'm noticing when people cross out their physical body, okay, they're still around for some time, okay. So is this accidental that they're still around, or this is the way the death process really happens, where they're around? And you know what? This brings me back to, you guys remember when I said that the last church that I was a member of was Orthodox. Okay, Egyptian Orthodox, Coptic Orthodox, they're all the same. And in the religion of the Orthodox, the Coptic and Egyptian, I mean Egyptian is Coptic. Coptic means Egyptian, um, or Ethiopian Orthodox. Okay, there's something that is very interesting. Okay, if you study theology, my experience with theology, with religion, is I lived it and I experienced it. I didn't go to college. I didn't study it. I experienced it. Okay. So in my spiritual journey, so in the Coptic Orthodox religion, okay, when somebody dies, okay, they mourn for 30 days. Why is it that they mourn for 30 days? And I believe this also is with the Ethiopian Orthodox. For 30 days, they mourn. So does that mean 30 days we're still on the physical plane after we leave our physical body? Because when my dad crossed over, he did not cross over right away. Okay. He was pronounced dead. Okay. But he was still here. And I'm like, how is that possible? When I talk to him or when I see him, he's so alive. Okay. He understands. Now, will he reincarnate back in? No. But he reincarnated back in his past lives? Yes. He has in his past. But this, will he reincarnate back in this lifetime or the next lifetime? No. So even like with animals the same thing. Everything in the universe is connected. Okay, everything. Everything in the universe is connected. We're connected to everything. Okay. Animals, trees. Trees can speak if you just listen. Okay. Um, sorry, you guys. Sorry, that was my son. Me and my son. I would have to do a video with my son. I haven't did a video with my son in quite some time. I'm gonna do a video with my son. He's talking about this world is wicked. He's right. This world is wicked, but you have to make this life your heaven. 133. He's telling me something. So I even asked myself, are we in the, and I don't want to say that because I don't want to put that energy out there. But I have questions. I have so many questions. So in the Orthodox religion, there is truth to the texts, the scrolls, the papyrus, the knowledge. There's truth there. There's truth that was written. And the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. The truth will also understand that we are in this simulation and they're trying to divide us. And how they're trying to divide us is by the color of our skin, what we believe in. And religion will only take you so far. Okay. I had to go past religion to find the truth, and I'm still seeking the truth. For my own sanity, not just for my own sanity, so I can remember, okay, and awaken that ancient knowledge, that ancient wisdom that we all come with, okay, and also so we don't get trapped on that wheel, okay, that zodiac wheel, okay. So healing, okay. So when we think about healing, People say, oh, you gotta learn a lesson to come in. I don't believe that's all true, that we have to learn lessons to come in. So we don't come back in. Do I feel like some of it is true? Yes, but then some of it's not true. Okay. This is just my perspective on it. Okay, you guys. Um, but how you really how you become aware more and you're not in a coma state. So this would make sense that they say in the Coptic culture, they mourn for 30 days. Okay. In the Ethiopian religion, the only religion that because I don't like to be under the umbrella of religion, because religion is a cult. I could not get the answers that I needed, or on my spiritual journey, I felt like religion stopped me from truly understanding my truth, um, and the knowledge that I wanted to know, or the wisdom. I felt like religion takes you to a certain point and then you are stuck. Okay. Because religion is a money making corporation. All religion, even the Coptic Ethiopian, um, but the Orthodox texts, they never taken away from those texts or papyrus or information or wisdom or knowledge. Um, because if you read the Ethiopian Bible and you read the King James Bible, okay, why would you have a jealous God when you're supposed to have a loving God? Okay. And when you say God or gods, they are not they're not of this realm. Okay. Um yes, the only connection, yes, you're getting it on earth. It only makes sense that the connection would be natural, not from man. Yes. That's why a lot of us go through the religion part of it, seeking the truth of our existence, we say our purpose. And you can't find that in man. Okay. Yes, you're on point on earth. You can only find that naturally. Because that's the only connection that you can make that is a natural connection. Because man can tell you anything. Okay. Man can tell you anything. Okay. Man can tell you that if you sin, you're going to hell. But what if hell is not a place where they're burning souls? Okay. What if it's a place of trapped souls? Okay. Um, yes. Or recycled souls. Okay. So, yes. So you cannot find on earth your own points. It only makes sense that the connection would be natural, not from man. Yes. Everything we do must be natural. Okay. We're all connected to everything around us. Okay. Anyone tells you that they're trying to control you. Yes. Why would somebody want to control you? Think about it. They want to control you as far as you paying taxes, as far as you practicing certain religion. You guys, I just seen a video of the Pope and that church. Those people were in a trance. Okay. Or that you're going to hell. Okay. It's to put fear in you. Okay. Why would somebody want to put fear and confusion in you? And then you have people that are so Bible thumping people that if you don't conform to their religion or conform to their theology or ideology, then you're going to burn in hell. Okay, why is that? Okay, it's a lie. Okay, it's a lie. Okay, do not trust man. Okay, trust your own understanding, your own wisdom, your own intuition, okay, your own divine source, okay, to get what they want, not what you want, okay? I just seen a video of the Pope, the new Pope, and the church congregation, and they were in a trance. And I wanted to yell and say, wake up, okay? I mean, they were clapping and they were in a trance, okay? A trance. And I wanted to scream on my phone and say, wake up. They were in a trance. When you go into the church and they tell you, oh, you're going to go to hell if you don't pray. You're going to go to hell if you don't ask forgiveness for your sins. What man will be a jealous God? Think about it. Who is the real God of the Bible? Okay. His name wasn't Jesus. Okay. His name wasn't even Yeshua. Okay. Yeshua. I say Yahweh, Jah. That's not his real name. Who knows what his real name is? Okay. Yes, I watched the Pope speaking, and I had to literally turn it off because I understand what was transpiring and what was happening. Okay. The whole congregation was in a trance. Okay. Trance. And I was like, I'm not going to be in a trance with these motherfuckers. Okay. So I turned that shit off. Okay. Music will have you in a trance. Watching TV will have you in a trance. Okay. Food will have you in a trance. Okay. For entertainment purposes. I want no parts. Yes. On earth, I want no parts. Okay. I want no parts of it. Okay. No parts. Okay. Yes. Even my phone right now, somebody's watching me through my phone. Okay. It's crazy. Okay. You have the answers within yourself. Okay. You have all the answers within yourself. Okay. You just have to know that you have the answers within yourself and trust that you have the answers within yourself. And fully trust yourself. Okay. I'm not saying I have all the answers because I don't. Okay. But I want no parts of this illusion and fucking delusion out here. Okay. And in my spiritual journey for myself, I had to go past religion. And when you also want to understand the spiritual realm, you have to go past time because time doesn't exist. So if time doesn't exist, numbers don't exist. Okay. Because timekeeping is so they can have you on this wheel of time. Okay. Where they can have you a slave of time. So what I mean a slave is where you're paying taxes, where you are doing what they want you to do. You're confined. Who says you have to go to work? Who says that? Okay, there was some man that made up time. Okay, time never existed. But you need to be on your own time. Okay, you don't have to work for somebody else to provide for your family. Okay, you don't. They want you to rely on them to survive, but you can survive without them. Okay, I know sometimes when you're in a certain environments and you've never been outside of those environments, you don't understand this concept because if you've only been in one environment your whole life, right, you only can see or perceive what you're seeing. And you've never been outside your environment and you don't know what else is out there because you've only been confined to this environment, you can't really wake up or understand what is truly going on. Money is unique. Okay, money is, if you look, have a, I don't want to go over there right now because then I have to move everything. If you look at money, right? Money is made out of what? Paper, right? It's not true currency. But when you give the money your energy, there's a transfer of energy with the money, right? So that the transfer of energy with that money, you give it acknowledgement, you give it, okay, so how can I explain this so you guys understand? So money is not true currency. Okay, money is a piece of paper. Okay, and there's stuff that's written on the piece of paper that is sigils. Okay, these sigils are being looked at every day, and it's a form of spell work. Okay, because you're giving this money, yes, to work and eat. Yes, money needs to go away. Um, the reason why they have money, they made money, they we use money is because money is not true currency. Okay, anything you find in nature is true currency. Okay, because it's alive, it's living. Okay, minerals are true currency. Okay, land is true currency. Okay, money will never be true currency. So you know how you obsess about money, right? Because you may have to pay bills, and money is a part of this reality because you have to pay bills. You got to have food on the table, you got to have a roof over your head. But when you give this currency all your energy, right? Or you give this current currency all your energy, right? Then there's an exchange of energy that's happening. Um, yes. It was actually something of value to begin with. A piece of gold, yes, gold, silver, land, that is true currency. They know that. They understand that oil is true currency. Okay? That's why they try to distract you with this fake paper money. Okay? Because if you knew what true currency was, and your ancestors knew what true currency was, which they did, some of them, their true currency was taken away from them, and some of them, they just gave their currency away. Okay? Um, Sometimes you might not know how you're going to pay your bills. Okay. Some of you guys will work jobs and you can't stay at jobs because you're not supposed to be working these damn jobs. Okay. But you need money coming in so you can pay your bills. Okay. Um, and what you give energy to, what you give energy to, energy is a transfer. Energy is transmuted. So what you give energy to gives energy back. Okay. So that's why they had to make the illusion of this paper money, because if you knew the value of the paper that have sigils on it, every dollar bill has sigils. Okay, the pyramid is a sigil. Okay, the pyramid means something. Okay, the face of their presidents is the your that is what their altars are for. Okay, so what you give your attention to um, is the energy transfer. Okay, like this paper. This paper has no value, has no weight. Okay, it has no weight. It means nothing. It can be burned. Okay. Um, Value is land. Value is gold. Value is oil. Okay. Value is silver. Value is your spirit. It's actually something I value to begin with. It was actually something I value to begin with. You work, you eat. Yes, you work, you eat. You think you're going to sleep. You're not getting sleep. I mean, it's just crazy. Okay. There's so many distractions. You're being You're being memorized by theater magic on your phone. You can't go to sleep at night because you're worried about your phone. You're worried about the television. You're worried about what's going on around you that it's not even really going on around you. Okay, some of the shit is not even real. It's illusion and fucking delusion. But you can actually see it, so you think it's real. Okay. So when you understand true spirituality, you have to go outside of the physical plane of existence. And you must not have no attachments. Okay. Um, and attachments can mean anything. Attachments can be money, attachments can mean family members, children. I have no attachments. Yes, be here now, in the now. Because everything's happening, past, present, and future is all playing out at one time. Okay. We are time traveling. We all have time traveled. Okay. We are the time travelers. We are the ancestors. Okay. We are. We are all those things. Okay. Um, so yes, what you give energy to gives energy back. Okay. It's exchange. Okay. It's exchange. You're exchanging energy. Okay. You're transmuting, you're transforming energy. Okay. So what you give energy to gives energy back. That's why sometimes I feel like I'm just going to delete my channel and focus on my spiritual growth. And one day I will delete my channel. One day I won't be on here anymore. Okay. One day I will be working on myself spiritually because I'm always working on myself spiritually. It never ends. Okay. But I know that I am supposed to spread awareness. I know I'm supposed to talk about these things for this time. But there will be a time where I won't be here to talk about these things. And what I mean not here is where I will be working with myself spiritually to get myself to a point of spirituality. And by doing that is not by having well, yeah, it is in a way because I was led in spirit. Okay, my spirit, myself, to start this channel. Okay. And a lot of you guys are led in different directions in your life. You may have a channel. You might have not just a channel. You might be drawn to something. You can't understand why you're drawn to it. Okay, it's familiar. Um, it's not just familiar. It brings you enlightenment. It brings you understanding. It brings you wisdom. It brings you knowledge. Um, and you can't understand why you're being pulled in this direction, but you're going this opposite direction. Because everything in nature, it has to flow naturally. Okay, it can't be a pulling. Okay, it has to be just natural flow. Okay, it can't be a pull and a tug. Okay, it has to be something natural. Um, yes, it's hard to find like-minded people in the real world. This is why a lot of you guys will be isolated. Um, Isolation is very real. You will also get to a point of depression. Okay, there's times where I have bouts of depression but I mind my thoughts. Okay, it's lonely. It's a lonely place. Okay, the reason why it's a lonely place is because you know who is real and who's not. Okay, um, and you know the people that understand you because you can be speaking to somebody and they can not understand one word you're saying, and you get frustrated with the person because they don't understand what you're saying because they just don't know. Okay, so you can't get frustrated with the person because they don't know. Okay, yes, the ego has to die. Okay, so when we talk about ego, a lot of people, even myself, each time I grow spiritually, each time my ego dies. Okay, I have no ego, because the reason I don't have no ego is because I know that I'm connected to everything. Okay. And I know that the ego must die. But the only one that can kill the ego is yourself. Okay. Nobody can kill your own ego, ego, but yourself. Okay. And what's happening is, in the spiritual community, is getting so poisoned because people have too much ego. Okay. Real spiritual people, they don't have no ego. Okay. They might have a little bit of ego, but they're not egotistical. Okay. They know that nothing of this physical realm is attachment. They know everything of this physical realm does not mean anything to them. Yes. And they're trying to make money off of spirituality, and it's a joke. It really is a joke. I was just talking to my friend about this before I got on this live. Okay. She's a psychic. She was a healer many lifetimes. And she wanted to give up on, she went to the convention. I didn't go to the convention. And she's like, she tried to, this is why I say she was being pulled in one direction, but she wasn't supposed to be going in that direction. Okay. She understands where she's supposed to be going. Yes. Like the preachers, there's people in the spiritual community. When you are very spiritual, you are very lonely. Okay. And until you find people that are spiritually connected to you on a soul level, I'm not talking about the family that you were born into. Okay. I'm talking about the soul family. Okay. And they are driven by their ego, they're driven by the falseness of the money. Okay. So what happens when you're drawn by the money, right? The fake money. You will chase the fake money. You will attract, because it's the energy exchange, right? So you will attract this fake money, temporary, because it can't go with you. Okay. In the spiritual realm, money has no value. Money has no value. Okay. It has no value. Not just money, other things that have no value. They carry no weight in the spiritual realm. This is why you'll see real spiritual people living a normal life. Okay. Not confined or imprisoned with the money. Okay. They live their life freely. Okay. Because they understand that money carries no weight. Okay. Yes, money is a distraction, and money is also a manipulation. Money is also a distraction and a manipulation. And another thing is, money will make you have an ego that you don't want to have. Okay. The love of money is the root of all evil. Yes, it is. Okay. So we're all learning to kill the ego. Okay. Yes, same thing with Diddy. What's going on with Diddy? Okay. Okay. We see this show, it's theater magic. Okay. It's theater magic. Okay. The people that he learned that from somebody. Okay. He learned it from somebody. Okay. Um, and these people that live off money, right? With the sigils on it, right? They can only go so far spiritually, right? So they are confined to certain dimensions of existence because they cannot go to different dimensions because they are stuck with the frequency of the money and the ego. The ego must die, the money must die, okay, for you to grow spiritually. and the attachments. You can't have no attachments in this physical plane of existence. Okay. I know I've been on here for a long time. Okay. I'm at a point in my life where I love my children. I love my grandchildren, but I don't have no attachments. Okay. I do not have no attachments. Okay. Um, and it is a lonely life when you are very spiritual, because you can be talking to people and people will not understand you. Very lonely life. Okay, very lonely. But you have to be okay being in that loneliness. You have to be okay. You have to help others. Okay. You know what my friend said before I start this live? I am not going to lie. She went to the convention. She didn't make no money. Right? She had to pay for her booth. She had to pay for her hotel. And she was talking about the prices that she was charging for her reading. She's a psychic. Okay. And she said that she wants to get in the future where she is doing reads where she's not charging people. Okay. So, and this is why she is my soul sister. And this is why we had a life together in Atlantis. Okay. We were Atlantis. We were from the place called Atlanteans. She was an oracle and I was an oracle. Okay. And so how is she going to live if she's not bringing in money? Because she understands that the attachment to money is not her true calling. And she understands who she was. You guys, I'm telling you, this girl and me and this girl, we shared a past life in Atlantis. We were Atlanteans. Okay. The city of Atlantis is real. It was here. Okay. It was real. Okay. Um, I was telling her that I was speaking the Atlantean language, and I don't even know if they have recordings. I know they have hieroglyphs of the Atlantean language, but the Atlantean language was really interesting. It was a telepathic language. It wasn't even just telepathic. It was also they used their hands for the language. And there was also something that was spoken. Okay. I call her my Atlantean sister. I hate that it's dark on the side, you guys. I'm sorry. It's still dark, the lighting. I hate that. But sorry that it's dark on the one side. It's no light over here. I just have light here. So she wants to get to the point in her life. She's a healer. Okay. She's an ancient healer. Okay. She had a life in Atlantia. That's why I call her, and she laughs at me when I say it, but I'm like, no, you were in Atlantia. You were in Atlantis with me. Okay. We were there at the same time. Okay. Something happened where me and her got separated. Okay. I was drawn to her the very first day I met her. Okay. And she is my Atlantean sister. That's why I call her my Atlantean sister. And it's very interesting. She understands the ego because she has no ego. Okay. She understands that money, she understands the true currency is not money. Okay. Yes, money is the root of all evil. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. It's been a long one. I hope everybody stays safe, does well. And I hope everybody got something from this. Thank you, on Earth. Yes. I'm going to say this. It's because the crap is dying inside. The ego must die. The ego must die. Okay. And the truth is the only way out. All right, you guys. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. You guys have a wonderful day wherever you guys are at. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay. All right. Bye.